Greetings and welcome to another episode of Q Points Podcast. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J. Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What's happening, people?
J. Ray, I have been looking forward to this moment of respite with you and speaking with the audience because I think this is a really fun topic. We always here at Q Points salute the ladies, and we love having discussions about the women and things that they've done in this industry, in this thing we call Black music history. This episode, we are talking about one of the most groundbreaking soundtracks to have ever come forth, and featuring only nothing but the top-notch women of the industry at that time. Ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack on this episode. So what we want to know right off the bat, what is your absolute favorite song on the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack?
But I want to underscore something that you said, Sir Daniel, because it is absolutely true. Because in 1995, when this soundtrack was released, I think this is like the renaissance of Black movie soundtrack era. There was just so many classic soundtracks, and this one being incredibly unique as it was just all women on it. And so many different flavors of Black women were on this joint too, but all, written and composed by one person.
Absolutely. So let's give it up to the movie Waiting to Exhale. It was directed by Forest Whitaker, right? And it had like the lead cast at that time was, just creme de la creme. You had Loretta Devine.
Boom.
Layla Rashawn.
Boom.
Angela Bassett.
Boom.
And none other than the incomparable Whitney Houston. That is a power ensemble cast right there. And we haven't even talked about the supporting cast, which was just as bomb as well, right?
All of the fellas that was in there. Of course, we, shout out to Gregory Hines and just all of the men that were in it. Two things real quick, Sir Daniel. I just thought about this as I was getting ready for this show. The other thing I really like about Waiting to Exhale, the film, is it feels very sepia. You know what I mean? Like it's a very...
Yes. Everybody had that warm orange glow to them.
Right. Yeah. The whole film. So I love that. And the fact that, yes, you got this powerhouse Black ensemble of women, you know what I'm saying, leading this film, who had just different level. All of these women did different kinds of movies, and so their range was really different. So watching it all kind of come together, and I don't remember a lot. I didn't research a lot about the news leading up to the release of the film. But I will say I remember seeing this in the theater and feeling like they were really friends.
I remember the rollout was incredible. I do remember that. The rollout was incredible because all four of them appeared on the Oprah show, which was at that time, that was like, if you weren't booked on Oprah to push your latest project, what are you doing?
Right.
If you're not on Oprah, it's not going to do well. So everybody had to be on Oprah, and Oprah had all the ladies on there all at the same time. And we will be remiss to have this discussion without mentioning Terry McMillan, the writer of Waiting to Exhale, along with her series of books, because the reason why the soundtrack was so impactful was because Terry McMillan, as an author, tapped into something really visceral in Black women. She spoke to Black women like nobody else was speaking to them at the time.
Yeah.
Her books were flying off the shelf. And I think this was the one book that everybody could envision as a movie.
Yes.
And the fact that it came to fruition and became a movie was like a dream come true for Black women across the world. This was they were all literally waiting to exhale. So, and we were talking about the ensemble cast, and let's just be for real. Waiting to Exhale literally is supposed to be Whitney Houston's big moment. So like she's this wasn't her first. No, this is
after the Bodyguard. So Whitney Houston is huge. I Will Always Love You had already happened. So Whitney Houston at this point in her career is like an actor now, right? Mm-hmm. So in fact, music had pretty much taken a back seat to all the other stuff. One, she had got married. Two, she had Bobby Chris. Three, she was like doing a lot of acting. So at this point, this was a big deal for her. But I will say what's different about this though, she's now acting next to seasoned Black actors. Like these women that Angela Bassett had just come off her Oscar nom for What's Love Got to Do with It. This was a big, big deal.
Major deal. And what I did love about it is that they all embraced her. Mm-hmm. Like you have Loretta Devine, who is probably the most seasoned out of all of them. And I mean, is a triple threat in herself, singer, actress, dance, all of that good stuff. And they all embraced Whitney. Let's run down the list of who's actually featured on this album, because and let's talk about how they got on the album. Because
I feel like that's going to come up.
That's definitely going to come up. So we've got TLC.
Yes.
The Toni Braxton. Brandy.
By the way, and so this is interesting because Toni Braxton is becoming a huge star right now. So she's still new, but she's becoming this huge star. So this is a moment too for Toni.
So we got Toni Braxton. Where was I? Brandy.
Of course.
Aretha Franklin. Shaka Khan. Faith Evans. Patti LaBelle. SWV. Mary J. Blige. Shantae Moore. For Real. For Real. We got to give For Real some respect.
Listen.
Shayna. CeCe Winans, and Sonia Marie, who was a very talented poet here in the Atlanta area.
Absolutely.
Like, this was so major for her to be on that soundtrack.
Yeah. So she was a name. It's so interesting because she was a name that, especially if you followed any R&B and Atlanta music at the time, like Sonia Marie was definitely a name that you knew. But Shayna was a newer name. And so one of the interesting things, because this is, of course, come up. So Shayna was working with Whitney Houston. So this goes back to your original thing. So how did these people get on the soundtrack? Babyface was like, yo, Whitney, we want to do this soundtrack. Feel like it should be all women. What did Whitney say? Yes, I think.
You know what? I think that is cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, right. And question number 2 was, who do you not want to be on it, or who do you want to be?
She was joking. She was. Okay. She said it was during a press conference for the movie and the soundtrack, and she jokingly said that Babyface asked her, "Well, come up with a list of who you don't want on the album." And she said, "I pulled out my pen, and the reason you don't see them on this soundtrack is because I didn't." And then she said, "No, she was joking. She was definitely just kidding around about that." But yes, they did hand select quite a few of these names, because let's look at it. It's Arista, it's Atlanta. Most of these people have worked with Babyface already, and then I'm sure there's a few of these names on here that are like family to her, like Aretha and Shaka and Patti. So it just made sense. These women, that these people were selected to be on the soundtrack. So that's why we found it so interesting. Like Shayna, who is this Shayna? And as we do on here, we started looking around and asking the question and finding out that yes, indeed, she was a protege for Whitney Houston. She was an up and coming singer. Yep. What was the other thing that we found very interesting about this lineup? Go ahead.
So one of the things, and we had asked this question as we were prepping for this, because we were like, wait a minute.
Glaring.
Where's Monica?
Where is Monica? Yes, it was like a glaring omission. Like, wait a minute. Why isn't Monica on here?
But then we answered that question. So Monica was really new still. So Miss Thang, Monica's debut album, came out in June of 95. This soundtrack came out in the fall. So Monica would not, her album wasn't even out probably at the time when they were recording the songs for this soundtrack. But if Monica had come out like a good time ahead, she likely would have been on this soundtrack. So I really do think it was just like, she was just too new.
Some other names that we were like, hey, why wasn't such and such? Mariah Carey. And we kind of have our own theory on why Mariah wasn't on there, because this was kind of in the midst of, I'm not going to say there was some beef. No, I don't think there was any beef at that time, but it definitely, I think Mariah Carey was heavily still tied up with Tommy Mottola and that deal at Sony. That this is just Q Points theorizing here that the whole team over here at the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack was like, you know what? Love Mariah, but we don't feel like dealing with that Tommy Mottola monster over there and Sony, that, because that's a whole corporate monster, and we probably just don't want to deal with that. And Babyface is already on the pen and already just knocking out these songs. And Mariah is also a songwriter, so maybe it was just easier that way. Yeah,
and I mean, and we know there was no beef. Whitney and Mariah have talked about like, we had no beef with one another. That was definitely a media thing. And also, we know that Mariah didn't have beef with Babyface because Babyface had been on Mariah's like album that came out right before this soundtrack. So I think I agree with you, Sir Daniel, is I really do think it came down to the business side of things. It was just too far removed, you know what I'm saying, from a business standpoint. Now, had this been a Sony affiliated soundtrack, we'd probably be having a different conversation. Mariah probably
would have been singing Shoop Shoop. One last name that came up while we were researching this that people were like, why weren't they on the soundtrack? Anita Baker.
I can see how that's surprising. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. But she was in a weird period of her career. Huh?
And En Vogue. I just thought about En Vogue.
Now, En Vogue is an interesting one, but that's a whole other situation where En Vogue were heavily like managed by their producers at the time, right?
Okay.
So I can definitely see. Oh, and this is probably a weird time for En Vogue because you know what? Don't Let Go came out like a year later, so there may have been some like stuff about that which got them to a hit song, but just not in time enough to be on the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. That would have made sense having En Vogue.
And then they were probably going through lineup changes.
They were. This was a weird time.
Yes. So it's probably a very weird time for the ladies of En Vogue. We keep mentioning one person in this conversation, and we got to talk about Babyface.
We do.
We got to talk about Babyface and the fact that it's astounding, mind-blowing in a good way to me that Babyface is able to successfully write in the voice of women and really create a great contemporary soundtrack in the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. And it's like, how does he do that? How is he able to write from a women's perspective? Or is it a women's perspective and it's just very a human perspective? And women can sing it, can breathe more life into the song? Or do you think he was tapping into his feminine side, or not the woman in him, but you know what I'm trying to say here.
I know what you're I think Babyface comes from the school of just like classic songwriting, where it is the songwriter's job to channel the emotions, feelings of the artist that they're working with. I would not be surprised if Babyface had conversations with each of these women to talk about this film and to talk about what this means to be able to craft some of these songs. And the reason why I know that that's likely a thing is because Brandy's Sitting Up in My Room is the perfect song for a 15, 16-year-old girl to sing about
Absolutely.
love. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just channeling. It's able to listen to the artist that you're working with, able to recognize what their strengths are, and then channel that into a song. Because you have TLC on here, which at the time people might have thought was weird, but this is how it works. Run is the perfect song for us, an album like this, right?
Yes.
And it's a great song for them to be on. It makes sense that T-Boz's voice would be on this soundtrack, right? So I think it's that. There's another interesting note about this that I want to bring up too. 1995 really does mark the year of Babyface, because prior to this it was LA and Babyface.
You know what? You're absolutely right.
LA Reid really began to lean into the LaFace executive producer role. Yeah. And it was like 94 when he was on a couple of things, but after 94, LA Reid is an executive producer. He is not in the studio. So this also marks the beginning of the Babyface as a producer himself era.
Correct, because this same year we got Bedtime Stories from Madonna. So he was really, really in his bag in this year. But it was so funny. I don't know if you recall the rollout of this soundtrack, but of course we know the Exhale, Shoop Shoop was the lead single, which of course was by Whitney, performed by Whitney Houston. And Whitney went on a couple shows. I want to say it was on BT with Donnie Simpson, and she was talking about working with Babyface. And when she got the song Shoop Shoop, she was like, "Shoop." Oh Lord, he done ran out of words. He's run out of lyrics. Because at first she was kind of like, she wasn't really 100% so like thinking, like, is this gonna cut it?
Yeah.
But lo and behold, it's one of those things. It's simplicity is probably the best when it comes singing, songwriting. Simplicity is probably the best factor of the formula when it comes to making a hit song, and repetitiveness, because we all will, as soon as she fell into that chorus of shoot, shoot, we all fall into that shoot, shoot with her.
And I think that's also, and this is one of the songs that a lot of people have picked, it's also what makes Shantae Moore's Way You work, right? Way You is just Shantae Moore kind of cooing on the song melodically. There's not words.
She's standing on a cliff wearing something very gauzy and the wind is just blowing her away. Yes.
But Babyface gets that, right? That song also fits. I also see it as kind of like akin to, it's like the other side of This Is How It Works. You kind of get to the way you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I think you're right with Exhale, Shoop Shoop. Actually, with all of these songs, there's something about them that makes them click. Like, he definitely gets how to craft a song, make sure the melodies work so you can sing them, and repeat them. And this soundtrack is just chock full of those moments.
Let's build our own Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. We're contemporary artists.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, you know what? And it's going to be really easy because Babyface kind of already did with his
like
with the compilation album a couple years ago. What was that called?
I can't remember what it was called. Was it Girls Night Out? I feel like it was like Ladies Night Out or Girls Night Out or something like that.
Something to that effect. But I'm thinking, if we're going to have like a 2027 version, you got to have Money Long on there.
Yes.
You got to have her.
Got to have
Jasmine Sullivan.
Jasmine.
Now I think we got to throw a classic sister in there. Like if we can get her out of hiding, out of
Who?
reclusiveness, Sade. What do you think?
Yeah, but she's not gonna do it. But Sade would be great on the soundtrack.
that sounds fine and all, but she ain't gonna do it.
She's not gonna do it.
Put them on your wish list.
I would invite. You know who I would invite? I would invite Doechii.
Yeah.
I would get Doechii to sing and do a rap, give it a very How Do I Love Thee, Queen Latifah kind of vibe to it. Like Doechii would like kill it.
Yeah.
Would you? You know what? I'm gonna just throw her on there, huh?
How about Meg?
You can bring Meg. You can bring Meg too. And you know what I would do that would send this soundtrack crazy? You got to reunite Destiny's Child. DC3.
Oh, yeah.
Michelle, Kelly, and Beyonce got to do a song.
Why don't we aim for DC5 though?
But listen, if we can get DC5, let's do it.
Because
if we can get them all, let's do it.
Let's do it, and let's make it even hotter. We get DC5 reunited for the song, and we get Michelle and Daigyo Cello playing on that song.
Can you imagine her on the bass line?
Nasty work! Oh my god!
Yeah, can you imagine her voice coming in? Come on! Oh, you know who we gotta also have? Also to the callback, SWV and Shaka need to come back. Bring SWV and Shaka back.
I'm with it. That would be an amazing lineup. Do you want Janelle Monáe?
Do you know what? This is not her vibe. She's talented, but is this her vibe?
I don't know. We got this out. So remember, guys, there was rumors of a sequel to Waiting to Exhale. Unfortunately, because of Whitney's passing, that kind of got the kibosh. So, I don't think we'll ever see that, and we can love on this movie. It's a classic. It's a classic.
What's your favorite scene? What's your favorite scene from the movie?
Oh man, Grr. Oh, now all of a sudden I'm in a zoo. Absolutely. What's yours?
You know what? No, I'm not gonna go for the classic. Angela Bassett crash out scene.
It's psychotic.
You're the bad
influence.
You know what I think it is, though? I do love the scene of when Loretta Devine and Gregory Hines are just kind of flirting with one another.
Oh my God, that is a classic scene.
It's a classic scene.
The plate,
all the food.
Right. The list of food. Oh yes, absolutely. Waiting to Exhale is just sitting right there. It's like just a history, a recorded history of female empowerment. Also a great ode to a great director, a great writer, a great songwriter. Yeah. Absolutely A1, 10 out of 10, no notes on this soundtrack.
No notes, no skips. This is a classic soundtrack. When people want an example of what the 90s were like, just give them the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack and be like, just play that. Thank y'all so much. If you can see our faces, if you could hear our voices, thank you for being here. Hit the subscribe button wherever you are so you can get notified about when Q Points has something going on and we live and we doing stuff, all of that. Do us a solid. Tell your friends, tell your colleagues, tell your family. If you like Q Points, chances are they will like Q Points, and it helps to spread the word about the show. Visit our website at qpoints.com. You can sign up for our newsletter over there. You can navigate on over to our blog. And last but not least, if you want to get some fresh gear, you can shop Q Point. You can shop our store at store.qpoints.com. That helps to keep the lights on over in Q Points land. We appreciate y'all and we love y'all.
Once again, we thank you very much for tuning into this episode. But what do I always say in this life? You have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
I'm J Ray, y'all.
And this has been Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. We will see you all on the next go round. Peace.
Peace, y'all.